Tonight on Gravitas, we bring you undeniable proof of India's crushing victory over Pakistan. Proof that shatters denials, breaks propaganda, and tells you exactly what happened. The proof comes from satellites. The world's eyes in the sky, satellites that belong to many countries, satellites that monitor what is happening in any part of the world at any given time. India obliterated Pakistan's aerial backbone. This is not speculation. This is not conjecture. This is satellite-confirmed reality. Major Western publications, yes, the same ones often critical of India, have now validated what New Delhi already knew and what Islamabad desperately tried to hide. The New York Times, the Washington Post, several other global outlets have independently analyzed satellite images. What's their conclusion? India inflicted devastating damage on multiple Pakistani military installations deep inside enemy territory. Let's start off with the Washington Post's detailed analysis. According to its report, Indian strikes on Pakistan damaged runways and structures across at least 6 major airfields. Directly quoting the report here, these strikes heavily damaged 3 hangars, 2 runways, and a pair of mobile buildings used by the Air Force, quote unquote. Adding that India managed to strike as deep as 160 kilometers inside Pakistani territory, including the Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi, Pakistani Air Force's Bhular and Shehbaz Air Bases, Mushaf Air Base, and the Rahim Yar Khan Air Base. The New York Times also released its own satellite-based assessment. It showed clear evidence of a massive crater at the Rahim Yar Khan base that made its sole runway non-functional. The Pulari base, where Pakistan's high-value F-16 and J-17 fighter aircraft are stationed, saw significant damage to its hangars. And at the Sargodha Air Base, 2 separate sections of the runway were hit, rendering it unusable. According to Indian military sources, around 20% of Pakistan's Air Force infrastructure now lies crippled. This is not a claim, it's visual truth. The Indian Army has released satellite images showing at least 8 Pakistan air bases being heavily damaged, with radar stations and air defense systems also devastated in these calculated strikes. Pakistan has been trying to downplay the damage. It claims that its air defense intercepted most of the strikes, but satellite images expose these lies. The numbers that it has released, at least 13 military personnel killed. The numbers it has not shared the full extent of its destroyed infrastructure. The satellite images shared by the Indian Army combined with global analysis, exposing Pakistan's blatant lies. Former Pentagon official Michael Rubin said India not only neutralized Pakistan's strike potential but also forced Islamabad into panic mode. In his own words, I'm quoting here, Pakistan went running to try to achieve a ceasefire like a scared dog with its tail between its legs, quote unquote. In his words, he emphasized that Pakistan's military lost very, very badly and highlighted that the attention has now shifted to Pakistan's terrorist sponsorship. He called India the clear winner, not just militarily but diplomatically as well. So Operation Sindoor was not just a military operation, it was a message to those who harbor terrorists, violate ceasefires, underestimate India's resolve. That message has now echoed from satellites in orbit to headlines across the world. And now the world knows it wasn't a war of equals, it was a one-sided rout. On to Germany now, which is sending a clear message to both its citizens and to the rest of the world. It's time to take defense seriously again. Facing mounting concerns over Russian aggression and uncertainty over US commitments to NATO, Berlin seems to be mulling a rather dramatic move, bringing back conscription. That's right, Germany's defense minister has issued a warning. If voluntary enlistment in the military falls short, the country may be forced to reinstate conscription for the first time in over a decade. In an address in the German federal parliament, He said, and I'm quoting here, "We have agreed that we will initially rely on volunteerism, a service that is initially voluntary and intended to encourage young people to serve their country. And I say this quite deliberately and honestly, the emphasis is also on initially, in case we cannot recruit enough volunteers," quote unquote. Germany suspended compulsory military service in 2011, but with only 181,500 active troops, far below the 203,000 target by 2031. The German military is basically struggling to meet the growing demands. The minister said that recruitment rose 20% in early 2025, but it's still not enough for what the military actually needs. Enlistment had dropped by 7% in 2023 as the German military struggled to attract younger recruits, and this had prompted some politicians to describe the recruitment goals as unrealistic. Germany's newly sworn-in chancellor has also echoed this urgency. In his first address to the parliament, he has vowed to build Europe's strongest army and reverse decades of military neglect. Listen to this.
In future, the German government will provide all the financial resources the Bundeswehr needs to become the strongest conventional army in Europe. This is only fitting for Europe's most populous and economically powerful country. Our friends and partners expect nothing less from us. They are demanding it.
Unsere Partner von uns mehr noch, sie fordern es geradezu.
Merz promised to rebuild Germany's defense capabilities, starting with a 60 billion euro procurement budget this year, which is a 15% jump from last year. And he emphasized Germany would lead alongside France, Poland, the UK, and called for a united front in the Ukraine-Russia peace talks. Now, although Germany has supplied Ukraine with heavy weapons, including Leopard 2 tanks, Berlin denies that the country is directly involved in the war with Russia. Since the war broke out in Ukraine, Germany, like many NATO countries, has expressed fear that Russia might attack NATO countries as well. In fact, during a visit to Lithuania in January, the German defense minister had claimed that Russia could prepare its army for a theoretical attack on NATO in 2029 or 2030. Moscow, of course, has denied any plans to attack NATO member states and has instead accused Berlin of dangerous escalation after Merz voiced support for supplying Ukraine with Taurus long-range cruise missiles. And Russia argued that the shipment of such sophisticated weapons would make Germany a de facto direct participant in the war. With Europe saying it faces its most fragile security environment in decades, Germany's leadership appears ready to step up. But bringing back conscription and reshaping Germany, Europe's largest economy, just around defense, may prove to be one of Merz's biggest political tests yet. Early this morning in Jammu and Kashmir's Avantipura, security forces killed 3 Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists in a fierce gun battle. Visuals from the operation showed one terrorist crouched behind a concrete pillar, clutching an assault rifle. In another clip, terrorists huddled inside what looks like a rundown shed moments before the final assault. These men had earlier taken refuge in a civilian house in the Tral region of Avantipura, a sub-district of Pulwama. A joint operation by the Indian Army and Jammu and Kashmir police led to the killing of all 3 terrorists, including one who had reportedly helped the Pahalgam terrorists with logistic support. But behind this successful operation lies a deeper transformation in India's counter-terrorism strategy, one that's increasingly shaped by technology. And drones play a crucial role. The Indian Army has ramped up its use of drones to hunt down terrorists with speed, precision, and minimal collateral damage. Drones are no longer just eyes in the sky. They are becoming lethal weapons. Take Operation Sindoor, for example. India deployed suicide drones to target terrorist facilities deep inside Pakistan territory, sending a clear message that no place is out of reach.
6 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर है, सांबा कटवा के सामने। उन आतंकवादियों को इसी जगह पर
In September 2023, during a prolonged encounter in the forest of Anantnag, Indian security forces turned to drones after Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorists killed 4 personnel. The army intensified its operation. Drones scanned the thick forests and directed targeted shelling on terrorist hideouts, killing at least 1 terrorist in this manner. And which drones is the Indian army using? In February this year, the army inducted advanced kamikaze drones for security operations in Jammu and Kashmir. These autonomous weapons reportedly track, identify and strike terrorist targets with surgical precision. And in January, the army introduced the Black Hornet nano drone weighing just 18 grams and about the size of a finger. This miniature drone allowed soldiers to conduct surveillance in tight, high-risk areas. Whole dual cameras provide real-time visuals, helping forces make quick and informed decisions, tailor-made for covert missions. So India is using drones not just for surveillance, but also executing attacks, be it dense forests or cross-border terror launchpads. Fears and worries swirl every time Pakistan's nuclear arsenal is in the headlines. And as tensions with India spiked, the world watched with bated breath. Will the nuclear bluff become real? Is there a nuclear leak? The International Atomic Energy Agency told WION there is no evidence of any nuclear leak in Pakistan. But the real question is far more troubling. Are Pakistan's nuclear weapons truly secure? Or is the world sitting atop a powder keg? Take a look.
Are Pakistan's nukes in safe hands? That's the question that the world can no longer afford to ignore. Will it take a mushroom cloud to rise for the world to be spurred into action?
Bharat Mata Ki! Bharat Mata Ki! Bharat Mata Ki!
India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has sounded the global alarm, urging international supervision of Islamabad's nuclear arsenal.
आज श्रीनगर की धरती से मैं पूरी दुनिया के सामने यह सवाल उठाना चाहता हूं कि क्या ऐसे गैर जिम्मेदार और रोग नेशन के हाथों में परमाणु हथियार सुरक्षित हैं? मैं दुनिया के सामने यह सवाल खड़ा करना चाहता हूं। मैं मानता हूं कि पाकिस्तान के एटमी हथियारों को IAEA इंटरनेशनल एटॉमिक एनर्जी एजेंसी की निगरानी में लिया जाना चाहिए। मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा और साफ तौर पर कहना चाहूंगा।
Pakistan's nuclear warheads are stored in silos that are scattered across a network of underground sites, air bases and military garrisons. Many of these are located alarmingly close to restive regions. While Islamabad claims to possess a sophisticated centralized command system, the National Command Authority, analysts remain skeptical. Political instability, military control, and the shift to tactical nuclear weapons have exposed dangerous gaps. There are persistent concerns about partial pre-delegation of launch authority to field commanders, raising the risk of miscalculation or unauthorized use. Pakistan's nuclear saber-rattling is nothing new. From the Kargil war to the aftermath of India's surgical strikes following the Uri and Pulwama attacks, Islamabad has repeatedly brandished its nuclear arsenal as a shield. an admission of its conventional military inferiority. But now there's a new normal. India's message is clear. We will not be blackmailed, we will not blink, and if pushed, we will respond decisively.
कोई भी न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल भारत नहीं सहेगा। न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल की आड़ में पनप रहे आतंकी ठिकानों पर भारत सटीक और निर्णायक प्रहार करेगा।
A crumbling economy, a military under siege, extremists seeping into the state machinery, and now Chinese footprints across Pakistan's missile and radar systems. Together, this volatile cocktail makes Pakistan the most unruly nuclear state in the world. With a fragile economy, internal discord, and a military stretched thin, Pakistan's nukes are anything but safe. The world cannot afford complacency. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.